Good morning. I feel like we should all just take a nice deep breath together. There's kind of a lot going on these days. So, welcome to the Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship, which we fondly refer to as BUF. No matter how you're joining us, in person or on Zoom, no matter what mood you're in or what's going on in your life, we're so glad that you're here. I'm Carrie Kenline, and I'll be your celebrant this morning, joining our minister, Sunny Joy McMillan. So I want to remind you to turn off or silence your cell phones. And also to invite you downstairs after the service for coffee hour and socializing, but today also for the third potluck, the potlucks at the third Sunday of every month lands today. So you are welcome to join us, and we would love to have you there. Right after the potluck, also in the social hall at 12:30, is an Envisioning for BUF's Future gathering hosted by the Stewardship Committee. So bring both your practical, small, and big pie-in-the-sky visions. And more details about these and other events are in your order of service. Now I'm going to turn it over to Sunny.
Good morning. I'm Sunny. My pronouns are she and her, and I am the minister here at Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship. We are joined today by a frog. Compliments of Grace Nyblade, Litz Epperson, our religious education director, and I understand there are going to be more frogs around, maybe? Maybe. Okay, well, stay tuned. Okay. Today's service will primarily be devoted to the honoring of Martin Luther King Jr.'s life and legacy as we prepare to honor MLK Jr. Day tomorrow. However, before we deepen into this service, I want to mention a couple of things. First off, you will notice that the background, when the screen goes up, you'll be able to see it better. But we've changed the quilt. And I know when it goes up, there will be some folks who will say, wait a minute, there are two pieces missing from that. Allison, our new administrator, and I got this quilt out to change it, got the ladders out, got it all installed, and looked at it and thought, something is not right here. We cannot find the other two pieces. We have asked around, so if you or someone you know took the other two pieces home to mend or clean them, please let us know, because the mystery continues to deepen. We also want to start planting seeds in your awareness around this year's stewardship campaign. For those who are new around here, Unitarian Universalist congregations, like many other denominations, generally hold an annual stewardship campaign to raise funds to keep the congregation going, paying staff and the mortgage, keeping the lights on, offering social events and activities, and doing good work in our community. This year's theme and logo are displayed on the screen. Generosity for new beginnings. Generosity because it is one of our 6 stated Unitarian Universalist values, with love at the center. And new beginnings because there are some new things happening around here, not the least of which is my arrival, as well as Allison, our new administrator. I am working closely with the stewardship team this year, made up of Lynn Skovdahl, Claire Linding, John Jersica, Doug Branson, and a few other consultants like Lee Seaman and Stephanie Rains. And we are planning some great events to get our pledging momentum going. And we are really going to try this year to put the fun in fundraising. So on Friday, February 20th at 6 p.m., we'll be holding a stewardship campaign kickoff event organized by Genia Allen Schmid and Erica Mullen. There will be live entertainment, some singing, games like group Jeopardy, dinner with a baked potato bar, and with a little help from you all, a video montage we would like to play at the event. And we're inviting all of you who want to participate to do a short 30-second video sharing a story about Buff or something you love about Buff. Erica and her husband have offered to edit and compile all the videos to make this montage, which we'll show at the event. And Erica was supposed to be here this morning to help me with a demo so we could show you what we are looking for. Unfortunately, she's down with the stomach flu. So I am going to film myself for a quick demo, selfie style, so you can kind of see what we're looking for. And you can do like me and film yourself, or you can have a friend or family member film you. Stewardship team members are happy to help you as well. And in the coming week, we will have instructions sent out on how to get those videos to Erica. So here's what we're looking for. What do you love about Buff or a story? I put my phone on video mode, selfie mode. I love Buff because we do community well. In a scary and chaotic world, I like knowing that I can show up here and be supported by people who share my values, and then go back out into the world recharged and ready. Done. Easy peasy. Okay. So something quick and simple like that. And so now, let's settle in and get comfortable for this sacred time together as Melanie brings us in with our prelude. We light our chalice today with words from the song that the Chalice Choir will sing this morning. These were written by Brian Tate. When we walk, when we sleep, when we rise, we are one. When we laugh, when we sing, when we cry, when we run, we are one. And we shall love one another with all our hearts, and we shall care for each other with all our soul and our might. When we stand, when we fall, when we rise, we are one. In the cold, in the heat, in the dark, in the sun, we are one. And we shall love one another with all our hearts, and we shall care for each other with all our soul and our might. And now I invite you to read with me the words of our covenant, which should be up on the screen. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service gives it life. Celebrating our diversity and joined by a quest for truth, we work for peace and honor all creation. This is our covenant. And now Carrie will lead us in a hymn.
And I'd like to invite my helpers to come up because we're going to be doing a round. This is the song, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. And we're going to do it twice in unison and then twice as a four-part round. There is also a chanting part we're not going to include because it seems like a four-part round is quite complicated enough. But I wanted to just tell you the words to that chanting part, which is, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. I love that. So. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan, no despair. Come yet again, come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Just the first section. Beautiful, thank you.
Here today. This is really amazing. A lot of you know I'm Liz Epperson, the Religious Education Director here at Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship. I work with children and youth, and I have a little announcement. We changed the email a little bit, so I'm not re@buff.org anymore, and it's possible that I may not be getting your replies. So I think all the families here have emails from me with my phone number. Feel free to text me if there's something you've been trying to tell me. And now onto the story. So I want to invite all of the children and youth. Some of them are already up here. We got a nice little group if anybody else wants to get closer. I don't have a book or anything to show you, but I do have a story. And I'm going to do something a little different today. I'm going to kind of read it because I want to get this story right. So our theme of the month is resistance. Today's theme is actually going to be resisting racism in our program. And I'm going to share with you all the parable of the river, and then we will reveal why there was a frog up here today. So, one day, as a villager began his early morning stroll, he noticed that the once vibrant river in front of the village looked a little murkier than usual and contained some sludge and pollution resting on the banks. He quickly went out of their way to clear the pollution and restore the flow, and thought all was well. But then the next day, there were 2 lifeless fish in the river. And then the next day, some debris started to build up. The flow slowed down, and water was cut off to the village. So naturally, the villagers organized quickly. They set up, this is funny, they set up watchtowers and training teams of swimmers and environmentalists to withstand the swift waters and clear the debris. Does that seem like a good idea? Yeah. Good idea. Good idea. So now the cleanup squads were working 24 hours a day to keep up with the increase in pollution. And while not all the debris and fish could be removed from the river, the villagers felt that they were doing as well as they could. Indeed, the village priest even blessed them in their work, and life in the village continued on that basis for many months. But one day, a little girl was playing by the riverside and saw the pollution. She looked off in the distance and then turned to her grandfather, asking where all of the waste was coming from. Her grandfather shrugged his shoulders and said, "Upriver somewhere, I guess." The little girl responded, "Well, let's organize a team to head upstream and find out who's throwing all their trash in the river in the first place." I feel like as a grown-up, sometimes kids really do say stuff like that, and I go, and this is why I work with kids. But when they brought the idea to the village elders, they said, "But if we were to go upstream, who would take care of the rescue operation? Or we need every concerned citizen here in the village. Or it's too hard to travel upstream." But the girls said, if we don't go up and see who's polluting the river, we can't stop the problem. And if we do stop the problem, then no fish will die. And the elders said, "It's too risky. We need all the help here." And so the number of fish found floating in the river continued. The girl decided she was going to go upstream herself. She traveled really far up the stream, and she found a mountain of plastic from the building of a nearby village. It was releasing chemicals into the once beautiful river and blocking the waterways. She smiled to herself and began to remove as much as she could. And as she dealt with the source of the pollution upstream, the river downstream returned to normal, much to the joy of the other villagers, who began to think to themselves, maybe we should go upstream too. So, what I love about this story is it reminds us how important it is to ask questions and look for the causes of our problems. And in this case, today, we're going to talk about injustice. It's not enough to clean up the harm after it happens. Sometimes the thing we can do to stop injustice is to go to the source. So looking upstream at like unfair laws, harmful beliefs, racist systems, and saying this isn't right and doing something about it is what we need to do. So this is kind of going to connect to what we're going to do downstairs, because today a lot of people are worried about undocumented people in their communities. And you might feel worried or even scared sometimes, wondering what's going on, why some people are so mean, and why they think it's okay to treat others unfairly because of what they look like or where they were born. When this happens, it's really important that you look to the helpers. These people in frog costumes are like that little girl. They want to help undocumented people. They want our government to treat them fairly and with dignity and compassion. They started wearing these silly costumes when some people said they were bad for helping. Yeah, they wanted to help their neighbors, and people were like, you should just mind your own business. It's not your problem. And those people are probably bad people, so why are you helping them? So they started wearing these silly costumes, and it is kind of silly, but it also showed all of America, when they were on the news or pictures were taken of them, and it showed the whole world, that they were not bad or scary. Because in these costumes, they can't run well, they can't fight people, they can't do all these bad things people were trying to say that they were doing.
Is the frog costume scary? No.
Yeah, the frog costume is not scary. Yeah. They're peaceful people willing to stand up for justice. They want all people to feel safe in our country so they can be free to live their lives in peace. So today, I have to give Grace credit, this is her idea. We have some little tiny frog charms hiding in the social hall for our kids to find. So when we sing the kids, we're going to sing them downstairs first, and then we will go upstairs. Now, a little warning, I kind of forgot that today is the potluck day. So kids, I know you're going to be really tempted. I have snacks upstairs. Don't. And I want to invite the parents. We kind of are light on the project today. So parents, if you want to get your kids right after the service because you're planning to attend the potluck, like always feel free to do that. We're here for you. We're here to do what works for your family. So, but if you want to enjoy that potluck by yourselves first, that's okay too. All right, that's enough from me. Let's sing our kids down to the social hall.
Sorry, I'm afraid I won't have enough room with our frog up here as well. In the final speech Martin Luther King Jr. delivered in Memphis, Tennessee on April 3rd, 1968, the night before he would be assassinated, King said, "The world is all messed up. The nation is sick. Trouble is in the land. Confusion all around. But I know, somehow, that only when it is dark enough can you see the stars." King was in Memphis to support 1,300 local sanitation workers who were on strike over dangerous working conditions, low wages, and lack of respect. King's final speech was given within the context of the civil rights struggle of Black people during that time in history. But his words, that the world is all messed up, the nation is sick, trouble is in the land, confusion all around, those words could very easily describe this current moment in time where oppression and injustice and violence remain, where our world is messed up, our nation is sick, and trouble is in our land. But remember, King also said, "I know somehow that only when it is dark enough can you see the stars." Times are dark. So we are going to take some time today on this, the Sunday before Martin Luther King Jr. Day, to look for the stars, to find the points of light that may help guide and inspire our way. In his closing words on April 3rd, 1968, King said he'd been to the mountaintop, that he'd looked over, that he'd seen the promised land. He also said, "I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we, as a people, will get to the promised land." As we now know, he was assassinated before he got there, which is why it is incumbent upon those of us who remain, those who are the inheritors of King's legacy, to keep going, to hold King's vision, to not let it die. So in this current moment, let's look for those stars. It can be easy to miss them right now. We look around and see terrifying, confounding, horrifying things. Our attention becomes so focused on what is around us in this earthly plane that we forget to look up from our devices and our news feeds, to look up toward the sky, toward the stars, both real and metaphoric. And making matters worse, so much of what our attention is focused on right now in our world is beyond our control. poorly trained and militarized ICE agents terrorizing and killing immigrants and civilians, an administration that is taking over sovereign foreign countries, the continuing war in Ukraine, even nature's flooding right here in our own community. All of these things and many more are largely beyond our control. Yes, we can march and protest. We can provide support and resources to those most affected. We can vote. And we should march and protest, provide support, and vote. These actions are important and they can affect change and transformation. And still, there is so much that is largely beyond our control. One thing we do have control over, however, is the cultivation of our own inner resources, our own inner light. By stoking our own inner light, we can be the stars in this current darkness. You will see in the order of service that Melanie selected This Little Light of Mine for our offertory today. I loved this music choice. The lyrics for this familiar tune say, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." By cultivating our inner light, we are fueling the fire for our presence and our actions in this community and beyond. We shine brighter and we are more effective. And in dark times such as these, cultivating light is an act of resistance. Martin Luther King Jr. was one of the greatest luminaries our world has ever seen. His public presence, his words shone oh so brightly during his short life. But that external shine for which he is most known was possible because of his cultivation of his inner life and light. His inspiration, his clarity of purpose, his vision, his prophetic voice, these were not sourced from the superficial. They came by stoking the fire of a deep and abiding connection to the divine of his understanding and his interior life. But he didn't do the inner work alone. He had help. During the period that King was developing his nonviolence method, he was interviewed by historian Lerone Bennett Jr. During that interview, Bennett spotted a book in King's briefcase, Jesus and the Disinherited. The author? Howard Thurman. Thurman was many things to many people: a pastor, a professor, philosopher, theologian, author, and civil rights leader. He also served as spiritual advisor to King. But my favorite title to describe him is mystic. I want to highlight Thurman today as he remains a beautiful point of light in this current darkness, and he was a true master of cultivating inner light, both his own and that of the civil rights leaders, like King, for whom he provided guidance and counsel. Through attention to his inner life, through his personal spiritual experiences, and through transcending the bounds of traditional Christian doctrine, Thurman developed beliefs around the foundational unity of all being. In his autobiography, With Head and Heart, he describes his experience as a young child growing up on the Atlantic Ocean in Daytona, Florida, in the very earliest days of the 20th century, where he recalled that the woods, the night, the pounding surf, they served as his earliest companions, and where the boundaries of self and other dissolved, allowing him to feel, quote, rooted in life, in nature, in existence. In the book American Prophets, Princeton professor Albert Rabbitoe writes that Thurman's early experiences of oneness would provide a lasting touchstone for his vision of community. In later years, Thurman would make a radical decision to forego pursuit of a PhD degree to instead study with Quaker mystic Rufus Jones. It was Jones who would help Thurman tie his interests together, inviting him, according to theologian Gary Dorian, to a life of mystically inspired faith, teaching, ministry, and social activism. But Thurman's was a time in which many held civil rights movement ambitions for him, and his choice to attend to the inner life was widely criticized. Thurman was apparently unfazed, even amused by such criticism, often relaying a story from Reinhold Niebuhr involving a speaking event at Howard University in which an audience member called Thurman the great betrayer and said, "We were sure he had the makings of a Moses, and then he turned mystic on us." Thurman stayed the mystical course, however, maintaining his belief that spiritual enlightenment and social justice go together, which is why folks like civil rights activist the Reverend Otis Moss said, though Thurman did not join the march from Selma to Montgomery or many of the other marches, he nevertheless has participated at the level that shapes the philosophy that creates the march. And without that, people don't know what to do before they march, while they march, or after they march. Cultivation of our inner life and light matters. But what I find even cooler is that what Howard Thurman sensed intuitively from a young age about the unity of all being and the importance of our inner life, science is now beginning to prove. Now, it may seem like a stretch to move from Howard Thurman's mysticism to the science of oneness, but stay with me. Dr. Lisa Miller is a professor and researcher at Columbia University Medical School who has spent decades researching the science of spirituality. Most recently, through innovative brain imaging and other studies, Miller and her colleagues have identified not only how spirituality lives in the brain, but why it actually provides a protective buffer against mental suffering. All of this and more is detailed in her 2021 book, The Awakened Brain. And I will be devoting a whole sermon to her work in the very near future. For today, however, I will only briefly mention one snippet from the book on the phenomenon of entrainment. Entrainment is the term for when two oscillations become synchronized. An example is when two pendulums begin to synchronize and swing at the same tempo. There's a fun video from Harvard's Natural Sciences lecture demonstrations that you can find online where a table full of metronomes, all swinging at different tempos, synchronize their movement over the course of just a few minutes. But entrainment happens to more than pendulums and metronomes. It's possible among humans too. Miller provides multiple studies from neuroscientists and neuropsychologists demonstrating that, and here I'm quoting from the book, when two people are emotionally in sync, mirroring each other on a task, or emotionally connected in an empathic state, their two brains become synchronized. Their oscillating brain waves synchronize to be the same phase, the waves going up and down together. And this is particularly true for the alpha wavelength, which is the same wavelength seen in studies on meditating monks. Alpha is good. And alpha just happens to also be the resonance that occurs in the space between the Earth's crust to 1 mile up. In Miller's words, alpha is the wavelength of the oneness of all life. What's even cooler is that MRI and PET scans have demonstrated that the strength of entrainment increases when multiple people come together in a transcendent state. As Miller explains it, if 9 people are meditating together, their brains are entrained, and when a 10th person comes in the room, the newcomer quickly arrives at the same entrained spiritual state. What does this say about our ability not only to support each other in this community, but our potential ability to impact hearts and minds outside this community? Maybe even folks who see things differently than us. Our inner life, our inner state, our inner light, they matter, they connect us, they transform us. In his letter from a Birmingham jail in 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. wrote, "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." It may be true that the harmful direct actions of some indirectly impact all, but entrainment tells us that the flip side is also true, Simply by attending to our own internal state, our own light, we can impact those around us. We can be a point of light, a star in this current darkness. And when we come together in an intentional, conscious, and loving way, our ability to entrain others becomes even more powerful. King was right. We are all part of an inescapable network of mutuality. As Thurman intuited through direct transcendent experience from a young age, as Miller has discovered through science, and as our Chalice Choir will soon sing, we are one. And through our oneness, may our light become even more powerful in our dark world. There is much in this moment to lament. There is so much sorrow in our current world. And yet, there are still joys as well. And this morning, we will take a few minutes to acknowledge these joys and sorrows through a shared ritual. As Sue Livingston plays the piano for us, we invite you to come forward if and when you feel led, to light a candle representing a joy, or drop a stone in the bowl of water to represent a sorrow. And if you don't feel called to light a candle or drop a stone, we invite you to sit in whatever contemplative or meditative way feels comfortable for you. And I also want to recognize that Sue will not be working with a set piece of music as she plays. She will be improvising. And when I asked her how she knows what to play, she said she imagines that she is creating a holding space for feelings. Musically, it doesn't, quote, go anywhere, but instead lends depth and resonance for whatever feelings emerge. And after all who have come forward are seated again, I will lead us in a short meditation. acknowledge the joys and sorrows here today. Some recognized through lighting a candle or dropping a stone, and others carried privately in the heart. I now invite you to turn your attention inward. If your eyes are not closed, you may wish to close them. Notice your breath. If you need to take a deep cleansing inhale and exhale to clean that slate, feel free to do so. Finding a comfortable, even, restful pace from here on out. Feel the weight of your body on the seat. Feel the connection of your feet to the floor, always remembering that down through the floor, down through the foundation, is this beautiful planet that holds us. Notice how you are feeling today. How does your body feel? What emotions are you experiencing? What is your mind doing? Noticing all these things, if possible, without judgment. And from this place of grounded awareness, I invite you to consider your inner light. How is your light these days? Is it burning brightly? Is it flickering a bit? I invite you to consider what you need in order to cultivate your inner light. Do you need rest or stillness? Do you need to march? Do you need a short media detox? More human connection? Inspiring sources? Time in nature? Just notice what you feel called to do or how you feel called to be in order to cultivate your inner light. And now, if you've had your eyes closed, feel free to open them when you are ready, returning to the room. And we will move to part 2. In that final speech Martin Luther King Jr. delivered on April 3rd, 1968, he opened by saying that in a panoramic view of the whole human history up to the moment in which he stood, he would choose to live in 1968 because, in his words, something is happening in our world. He pointed to the masses of people rising up worldwide, crying, "We want to be free." But he also said he was happy to live in that period because, quote, "We have been forced to a point where we're going to have to grapple with the problems that men have been trying to grapple with through history, and our survival demands that we grapple with them." Again, King's words feel timeless and just as applicable today as they were in 1968. While I want to acknowledge that, yes, some progress has definitely been made, some consciousness has been raised since 1968, we are still grappling with many of the same problems. And I also believe we are in a moment of reckoning. In the United States, I think we are only now beginning to understand, to acknowledge, to fully comprehend the generational trauma and the depth of the wounds created through our colonization of this land. The genocide of indigenous peoples and the destruction of their culture and spirituality, the enslavement of millions of African Americans and the ripple effects forward through Jim Crow laws and now mass incarceration, of a country founded, of a constitution written, with little or no regard for the personhood or rights of women or people of color. In a speech delivered about 10 years before his assassination, King said, "Democracy is the greatest form of government, to my mind, that man has ever conceived, but the weakness is that we have never touched touched it? Isn't it true that we often take necessities from the masses to give luxuries to the classes? Isn't it true that we have often in our democracy trampled over individuals and races with the iron feet of oppression? Isn't it true that through our Western powers we have perpetuated colonialism and imperialism? Again, King's words are timeless and timely because we are still working toward a democracy that is fair and just and equitable for all. And during all these many years, it's like the unacknowledged, unhealed wounds of our nation have become deeply infected. Like a gangrene festering below the surface, there is infection and toxicity that needs to come up and out before true healing can begin. This current administration is causing so much harm. And I also believe they are bringing our greatest wounds, the deepest infections, to the surface for us to see. They are showing us the darkest, grossest, sickest, unhealed parts, many of which I don't think we realized were still there. And it is up to us, those who value justice and equity and transformation and pluralism and interdependence and generosity, all with love at the center. It is up to us to help with the healing. We cannot let King's vision die. We cannot give up before these wounds are healed, and we as a nation, as a people, remember that we are one. So we cannot give up on cultivating our inner light. We cannot stop looking for the stars. In Rules for Radicals, Saul Alinsky's classic and primer for successful organizing, he writes, "When Americans can no longer see the stars, times are tragic. We must believe that it is the darkness before the dawn of a beautiful new world. We will see it when we believe it." I do believe we are nearing a dark rock bottom as a nation, after which recovery and true healing can finally begin, that we can finally touch the democracy that King envisioned. Until then, we must remember King's words. Only when it is darkest must we look for the stars. Look for the shining stars in stories and acts of hope and courage and inspiration and compassion. But also, look to each other. You too are stars. You are literally made from the stuff of stars, but metaphorically, you also are a star, a point of light in this current darkness. And may we, with these little lights of ours, may we let them shine. And now, before our Chalice Choir comes up to sing We Are One, I want to invite you to a couple of great opportunities for stoking your inner light. Tomorrow night, Community Food Co-op will host its 26th annual MLK Jr. Day event right here at Buff. There will be music and speakers, and if you want to join the All Are Welcome Choir, meaning everyone just show up, get here at 6 o'clock to practice. The event itself starts at 7. And our very own Reverend Dr. Mel Hoover. Mel, are you here today? No, okay. Mel Hoover has been interviewed for a radio show and podcast to honor MLK Jr. Day. Details of how to tune in will be shared through Buff News either today or tomorrow. You can also look in the Buff News section of our website, which is now changing every day with new events, at buff.org for details, and we'll also put it in the midweek update. And now, our Chalice Choir.
Much taller.
I might be able to help.
I'll do it after. Yeah, go ahead.
Ah. Okay. Oh, look at that. Okay. Well, don't lose the energy of what you just heard in the song. I really love singing that song, and there's something about, when you're singing in a choir, you are one, but you're not all, like especially in the buff choir, we're not all conforming, right? But we are singing together when we're bringing our different voices and our different energies together in a way that works. And there's something about it that makes you feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself. And I don't know about you, but these days I really have the need to feel like I'm part of something bigger than myself. And I feel like I need buff more than ever. So this is my way of introducing the offering. Just to stand up here and cry. So I would like to invite the ushers to come forward, and you can drop a check or cash in the offering basket if you're here. If you're on Zoom, you can follow the directions on your screen. You can also give digitally by looking at the instructions in your order of service. So thank you for your generosity. Now that you've finished singing, we're going to sing again. So please rise in body and spirit. Hymn number 121 in your gray hymnal, We'll Build a Land. Be
as we leave this sacred space and go back out into a world that may feel very dark, may we remember our light and may we let it shine. And now, as Carrie extinguishes the chalice, I affirm that we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now I invite you to sing our closing song, Circle Round.
They turn it off.